You might not think you're easy to manipulate. Most people don't. In fact, the more confident someone feels in their judgment, the less likely they are to question it. But psychology shows something uncomfortable. The people who believe they are the most mentally strong are not always the hardest to influence. Sometimes it's the opposite. And the scary part is, it's not obvious at all. Because manipulation doesn't look like control. It looks like normal conversations, normal relationships, normal decisions. And if you recognize yourself in a few of these patterns, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means your brain might be optimized for trust, not resistance. And that can create blind spots. Most manipulation doesn't start with lies. It starts with trust. And people who assume good intent by default are easier to influence without noticing it. Not because they are naive, but because their brain reduces threat detection in social situations. Which feels healthy until someone takes advantage of it. Have you ever remembered something clearly, but after someone confidently disagrees with you, you start doubting yourself? That's not random. It's cognitive flexibility mixed with social pressure. And in the wrong context, it becomes a vulnerability. Because whoever sounds more confident starts shaping your version of reality. People who avoid conflict often think they are peaceful, but psychologically, they are highly adaptable to external pressure. Because instead of resisting tension, they reduce it by changing themselves. And over time, this creates a pattern where other people's comfort becomes more important than their own boundaries. When something feels off in a situation, your first reaction is often, maybe I'm just overthinking. And sometimes that's true. But sometimes that thought becomes a mechanism that overrides your own intuition. And that's where manipulation becomes invisible. Not by convincing you of something, but by convincing you to ignore yourself. People who give second chances too easily often think forgiveness is strength. But without boundaries, it becomes repetition. People don't always change behavior. They learn what they can repeat without consequences. And if you naturally avoid conflict, you might keep resetting the same cycle without noticing it. When someone behaves inconsistently, you don't immediately assume bad intent. You try to explain it in the most positive way possible. They didn't mean it. They probably didn't realize. It's just a misunderstanding. And this habit makes you emotionally stable, but also easier to influence. Because gaps in behavior get filled by your interpretation, not reality. This is one of the most dangerous patterns. Humans normalize repetition. So when someone slowly pushes your boundaries, you don't feel a single big change. You feel a series of small adjustments, until something that once felt unacceptable starts to feel normal. Not because it changed suddenly, but because your reference point shifted. In real time, everything feels isolated. A comment, a request, a reaction. But manipulation only becomes visible in patterns, and people who are emotionally engaged rarely zoom out long enough to see those patterns clearly. So they evaluate moments instead of trajectories. Now here's something important. None of these traits are bad. In the right environment, they are strengths: trust, empathy, adaptability, reflection. But in the wrong hands, they become exploitable patterns. Not because something is wrong with you, but because every strength has a cost when it's unbalanced. Manipulation is not about controlling strong people. It's about finding predictable ones. And predictability often comes from traits that look like kindness, intelligence, or emotional awareness. So the real question isn't, am I easy to manipulate? It's, do I notice when my strengths are being redirected against me? Because the hardest manipulation to see is the one that doesn't feel like manipulation at all. It just feels like normal life.